Welcome into Mavs pregame, everyone. I know we're 5 minutes rather delayed for this pregame show, so we apologize, but we were just doing a little bit of snacking courtesy of Jaden Babiak's mom, and we know his father's watching tonight, so hello to him. And as we get set for tonight's matchup, it's looking a little bit gloomy outside. There's a couple people with umbrellas already out in preparation for what could be a little bit of rain, but as we know, it often moves around Athletic Park well, and moving around the diamond inside Athletic Park yesterday were the Medicine Mavericks. What a game, Wayne, it was.
Yeah, that was a comeback for the ages for the Mavs. Down 7-0, clawed their way back, and eventually took a 9-7 victory over the Regina Red Sox after having lost to them the night before in an extra inning, 6-5. So great comeback last night. The Berries are coming into Medicine Hat well rested, and they've got the big guns out tonight.
They sure do. We'll get to their lineup in a moment, but it is littered with former All-Stars and players that are near the top of the league in just about every category. Batting average to stolen bases, they've got it all covered. And speaking of covered, we're hoping that a tarp doesn't have to go over the diamond. We talked about rain a second ago. It is raining out there currently. And those umbrellas coming up ahead of time, that's a smart play from a few fans to my right. We will see if it continues. We will monitor it as best we can. And the Mavericks, they will be monitoring a couple of the other games around the league tonight as Regina still chasing them in the standings. Regina actually doesn't play tonight, so that one won't be as important. But obviously looking at Weyburn, who will continue to trudge along for a playoff spot. And then in the other division with most of those teams getting off here. But we do have one game that's already been completed today around the league, and that was the Moose Jaw Miller Express beating the Energy City Cactus Rats in a game that started at 2:05 p.m. And so the Moose Jaw Miller Express continued to climb closer and closer to the Mavericks, and the rain continues to pour and pour down here. And as we know, Wayne, we are not in a weather delay, but it looks like players are gathering around and they're awaiting word on whether this one will start on time.
Yeah, the Berries are still down by their bullpen area, so there is some rain coming down. The Mavericks are out in their bullpen area, so I think the field, they've been watering it beforehand. It probably doesn't hurt to have a little bit of rain, but we don't want a rain out. That's what we don't want, and there already is a good crowd here tonight. The Berries coming in, they're a high-flying team. They're 19-3 this year. What a start to their season. These are the teams with the two most wins in the WCBL this year, and something's got to give.
And hopefully the weather gives here. It's
it
really
is coming down
yeah. Now. You can hear it pittering and pattering in the distance. Looking at the Doppler right now, we are in a cell. It looks like there will be some space in between there before another major cell hits. But it is really coming down there at the moment. So we will keep you in the loop with what's going on here. We'll be finding out pretty much just when you guys are. And I was listening to see if the announcement outside was giving out any information that we're not already aware of. And it looks like a lot of the Mavericks players are now moving closer and closer towards the dugout. Coach JT shaking hands with the umpires down there. And most fans are huddling under the two canopies here. I'm not sure if that's the right term for them, but they are a space to stay dry. Section D will be a popular pick for tonight's game.
It looks like the umpires want to get the game starting, and I believe this is just a passing shower. And as you say, I'm looking at the radar as well, and there is rain in the area for sure. So we might have some interruptions, but hopefully not a cancellation or a postponement tonight. Well, it wouldn't be a cancellation, but a postponement.
And before we dish it off to a word from our network, Flow Sports, I do want to ask you, Wayne, in conditions like this, how does that affect the players outside of just footing out there?
Well, it's warm out, which is nice. It's not cold, so the infielders will be more affected than anybody because of the wet grass when the ball is rolling to them. the outfielders, it shouldn't be affecting them. So pitchers might have to get a little bit more leniency with trying to dry their hands off or the ball, but yeah, I don't expect it's going to affect them because I don't think it's going to get to the point where it's going to be soft on the infield. The infield is in very good shape.
And hopefully we are in good shape to start this game. And I think we're just going to jump straight to the starting lineups here. We'll get a word in from our network later. And let's start, as always, with the visiting Saskatoon Berries and what their lineup looks tonight outside of absolutely stacked.
Well, the ever dangerous Carter Beck is leading off in center field. Ethan Menard will be at first base. Abian Medina at second. Ethan Murdoch in right field. Nathan Houston at short. Balin Sorensen will do the catching. Corey Waters is the DH. Mason Rell at third base. And Evan Janner in left field. For the hometown Mavs, we have Jeremy Freeman. I'm sorry, I was looking at my scorebook and I'm thinking, did I write the wrong team down? Jeremy Freeman in center field. Yusi Uzawa is the DH. Tyler Benesti at third base. Carter Roth at second base. Johnny Volcano at short. Jaden Babiak will do the catching. Evan Morrison at first base. Adam Volcano in right field. And Micah Dvorak in left field. The umpires for tonight's game, home plate, is Brian Stair. At first base, Willie Glasgow. And the crew chief, Mike Richards, will be at third base.
So with that, we will take you to the national anthem, and then we will tell you who's on the mound for tonight's game for the Mavericks. It's a new face, I'll tell you that much.
AC Marshall in the singing of O Canada.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Conditions at game time at
And let's toss things over to the mound now and take a look at who the Mavericks have there tonight. And not only will this come with an introduction, but a bit of an apology as well. We mentioned that Jensen Cockrell was on the mound last night to close out yesterday's game. It was actually Luke Barrientos. So Luke Barrientos getting the save, helping the Mavs earn that win. Tonight, however, it is Jensen Cockrell getting the start. His first start of the season for the Mavs, his second appearance on the mound, second appearance at home. So he's got no wins, a 0 ERA, and just 1 strikeout. And we'll see if he can up totals in the correct areas tonight. And, of course, those being the win column and the strikeout column. Got a chance to chat with Jensen this morning. Both him and his teammate here and good friend, Tyler Spruill. And they go way back. They have a brotherhood that has grown throughout the years, and they're very tight-knit, and that is part of the reason why Jensen made his way up here. Is he got a call from Spruill and thought it was a great opportunity to get his name out there once again and play some ball alongside someone who he considers very close. And Jensen, he told me a little bit ago that he doesn't get nervous on the mound, he just gets excited, and this is an exciting time for him to get his first start. We'll see how he does in that. And as we arrive closer and closer to game time here, there is no rain in the air. So that is good that that is cleared out. You talk about the smallest shower you've ever seen. That's got to be in the conversation. Hopefully we're showered with a different sort of thing tonight, that being runs. We haven't seen a lot of high-scoring games over the last two, but we have seen fun ones. Can this one be a mix of both?
Yeah, well, we've got the high-flying Saskatoon Berries. Joe Carnahan bringing his troops into Medicine Hat. One of the statistics that I find amazing with the Berries is that they've got a 91% success rate in stolen bases, and that's unheard of. They've got 67 stolen bases in 74 attempts.
And we talk about the Mavs all the time and how they're really good at stealing. This is a whole nother level, and it'll be tough to keep the Berries from running around. Jalen Freeman, who's always a speed threat, he's not in the lineup tonight, so not having him will be different. And this ball won't be having any more time within the field of play. A leadoff home run for who else? Carter Beck. He struggled here in his last appearance, and he made sure that today is not going to be like the last.
Yeah, that ball was hit. It's halfway up the berm out in right center field. As we always say, the dimensions 350 down the line, 380 to center field, and that one was hit about, I'm going to say 405 feet.
So already a 1-0 lead for the Berries. But as we've seen over the last couple of games, no lead is safe, and especially a 1-run lead. This game is far from over. Don't walk away from your television, iPad, whatever you're watching on just yet. There's lots of ball to be played, and that's the good news for Jensen Cockrell. Not the start he was looking for, but there's lots of time. He's got 2 strikes up on the board now.
Well, in my mind, those single home runs never hurt you unless they're in the bottom of the 9th and the score is tied.
And we're going to miss to Menard. Ethan didn't play here in the Berries' first appearance. Neither did Ethan Murdoch, so 2 big names added to the lineup. 2 former All-Stars, Murdoch doing it with Swift Current, Menard doing it with these Berries, and that might be back-to-back jacks.
Yeah,
Menard is going to watch that one fly way gone. It cleared the berm. Oh, gone swimming is Ethan Menard, and it's 2-0 Berries.
Menard just stood and watched as he hit it. That was a home run right off the time the ball met the bat.
So just about the worst possible way that Jensen Cockrell's first start could go. Didn't give up any runs in his first appearance, and now he's given up runs in his first 2 matchups.
Lots of information being passed on to Murdoch on deck from Menard. Bunt attempt by Medina.
Medina hit one out to a similar spot. Not as deep, but he went to left field last time he played here.
Well, we said the Berries were well rested. They haven't played in a couple of days, and they're showing their power.
Here's one that's going to be grounded over towards first base, and Morrison's going to miss it. He's had trouble there this year. Safe at first is Medina, and it's plays like that that are almost more costly than the home runs at times.
Yeah, that's an error to Evan at first base.
We saw Aaron Volcano there yesterday. Rest day today for him. We haven't seen a lot of blowouts at Athletic Park this year, at least against the Mavs, that is. And this one is kind of taking that shape early on, but as we said before, lots of game to go.
That wind just picked up again, and it's blowing strong in from left field. Usually it blows out to right field, but the wind right now is coming directly in over the score clock in left field.
This one's going to be grounded up through center field. The Mavs haven't even gotten an out yet, and there's 2 more on here for the Berries. And interesting that we haven't seen a mound visit Maybe letting Cockrell work out some of the kinks. He'll now have a discussion here with Babiak. The entire infield is going to come in as well. And the Berries just doing what they do best. Hit around the park, hit the long ball. The only thing we haven't seen from them is a steal, and being redundant, but it is early. There hasn't even been a chance for them to steal.
Well, if there's a positive out of this, Cockrell is throwing strikes, and it would have been nice to get that first out at first base, and then you kind of relax because you got an out, and those solo home runs aren't going to hurt you as much. But now runners on first and second, nobody out, and you got Nathan Houston at the plate.
And Nathan Houston has played just about everywhere in the lineup. You look at him last season with Moose Jaw. He was always up in one of the first 3 spots. Having a guy like that in the 5 spot is a luxury. First pitch is going to be low. Babiak keeps it ahead of him. Houston a regular at shortstop for the Berries. Cockrell back on the mound. Long wait as he gathers. Couple of runners behind him. He'll check back on them. Here comes the throw, and it's going to hit for a strike. Be a huge confidence boost if he can get 3 outs and leave those 2 runners stranded, not let the game get away from him and his teammates so far.
Well, a double play ground ball would be nice here.
Swing and a miss from Houston. He had a rough game last time he was here. Both him and Carter Beck in the 1 and 2 spot. Part of the reason why the Berries weren't able to get it done on the road. Couple of looks. Here it comes. One's going to miss, so the count will be 2-2. 3 hits already for the Berries. Waiting over on deck is Balin Sorensen. He had the base hit to tie it last time these two were here. And that was at 7 apiece before the Mavs walked it off.
Well, we're back to a full count. We'll see how aggressive the Berries are going to be. Menard at second base. Medina, rather, has good speed. He's 4 for 4 in stolen bases. Do they want to push the issues?
And that's going to be a walk. So the first walk of the night for Cockrell. And you can see his frustration on the mound immediately. Babiak going to yell out some signals. It's the Berries. Another opportunity to pile on runs. There's still nobody out here. And also of note, this is the earliest the lights have come on here. We're in the first inning.
Well, the clouds are certainly making this a dark place besides the Berries, making it awfully dark for the Mavericks.
High throw from Cockrell. Sorensen's behind the plate again tonight.
Morrison is the only one playing in at the corner. Everybody else is playing double play depth.
This one is blasted towards Volcano. Quick throw back to second, and it is going to miss Roth. So a run will come in to score, and probably no need to rush a play like that. The idea was there. Converting was something that did not occur.
Yeah, Roth wasn't at the bag yet when Johnny decided to make the sidearm throw, and it's going to be another error on the Mavericks, and I'm not sure whether it's on Roth or on Volcano. But runners at second and third, another run in.
It's a 3-0 Berries lead. Some people haven't even found their seats yet. First throw there from Cockrell is going to be high. Checking at the bat is Corey Waters. Waters a pitcher for a large part of last year. But he's become a real threat at the plate as well, and he's become a home run hitter for them. Another strike from Cockrell as he gets ahead in the count. Played his collegiate ball at Dallas Eastfield. There's going to be a little grounder over to Volcano. He'll stretch it to first, and there is out number 2, but another run in to score for the Berries. Their lead up to 4-0. And I'm sure we'll talk about it lots more as the day progresses, and Wayne, you already alluded to it a little bit. But the 2 days of rest are huge. The Mavs have played a lot of games recently, and the Berries, not only did they have time to rest, they get a nice travel day in here, and they've had lots of time to think about the Mavs and watch their games too. This one going to be hit over to right field. Maybe a chance to score a runner here. Volcano's going to wind up, throw it home, and Morrison will cut it off, and the run there will stop over at third. So another hit on the board for the Berries. Evan Janner with runners on the corners will head to the plate.
9th batter to come to the plate this inning.
And that's a sign of good things when you can have a player potentially reach the plate twice over an inning span. Cockrell trying to make sure that doesn't happen. He's going to miss there on his first offering to Janner. Janner in left field tonight.
Wind still blowing hard. Rella has a good lead at first.
Yeah, that wind has been a factor the last couple of games. The first few games of the year, it was as dead as can be, and now things have taken a turn. This one is blasted into center field, no doubt about it. Freeman's going to stop running, and it's into the back bank. A 3-run homer, the 3rd homer of the inning for the Berries. Their lead's up to 7-0. It looks like the Mavs have someone warming up already. It's Garrick Levesque. And we'll see how much longer Cockrell's going to be on the mound. So for the second time in this inning, he'll see Carter Beck. First time didn't go his way, gave up a home run. One's going to bounce in the dirt. Cockrell wanting to work quickly. Beck slowing things down in his favor. Babiak getting a bit crossed up there, and it's going to be ball 2. It's been a long top of the first inning.
It has been, yes.
Strike from Cockrell. Make it 2-1.
Taking me a while to catch up with my score book here.
And this one's going to be hit out of the reach of Roth. So the inning won't end. Carter Beck, 2 hits in the top of the first. Another chance to go for Ethan Menard, who homered in his first at-bat.
Garrick Levesque is warming up in the Mavs bullpen.
Pitch is going to miss low. Ooh, good save there from Babiak.
It's
Got
just
the
about
leg
a
out and
kick.
everything. Yeah, that was
kick
a
save. That was a great catch off the shoe tops.
This one takes flight, and the wind might take it all the way to the back wall. Volcano is there, and it is gone. I can't say I've ever seen this many home runs in an inning at Athletic Park. It's the 4th one to go over the wall. And the Berries fans to my right making lots of noise. It's an exciting game for them thus far, and the game will be over for Jensen Cockrell as his day will end. So Cockrell off the mound. Levesque will come in, and we will be back after a word from Flow Sports. And I don't know if you can hear us because there's a commercial being played. And if we're back right now, just wanted to let you know a ground ball just took place over to first base. Morrison tapping it and getting out of the inning. But it's a 9-0 Berries lead. I think one of the largest leads I've ever seen coming out of a first inning here. I said the most home runs I've ever seen at Athletic Park, at least in my time with the Mavericks. There's nothing else that you can say other than good on the Berries. They found a way to hit it long.
Well, they came in here and they wanted to take the crowd out of the game, and they certainly did it with that first inning. The good thing is the Mavs still have 27 outs, and 9-0 is not an insurmountable lead when you've got the hitting that the Mavericks can produce. What the Mavs have to do now is shut down the Berries, and that could be the tough part. They got to shut them down for the next 8 innings and then get their bats going.
And wanting to make sure that he shuts down the Mavericks bats is Merrick Yeager. 2 wins on the year, a 5.31 ERA with 18 strikeouts. So the earned run average, a little bit higher than he would like, but the strikeouts have sure been there, and he'll look to be doing that a lot against these Maverick batters. Leading off the pack again, as always, is Jeremy Freeman Jr., who we spoke about earlier in the game, and Yusei Uzawa right behind him. So they still got the speed pack together, or I guess it's together again today after they didn't have it last night. And they're going to need some solid base running and good decisions if there's any hope at keeping this game afloat.
Well, we're only down by a touchdown and a field goal, and we have hope.
Field goal, a 2-point maybe. I don't even know how that worked. Yes, a touchdown, missed field goal, missed extra point, and then a field goal.
And in Canada, you have a 2-point play, right? 2-point conversion. You have a single off a punt.
I'm not too tapped in with the CFL rules, but I believe you're correct. Feels like we're playing a different sport right now with the amount of action there's been offensively. Here's Freeman. He's going to sling this one over to right. It's going to be fair. Could be 2. Definitely will be 2 with the speed of Freeman. He's thinking 3, and he then stops up at second. There may have been a chance to get there. When he got towards the bag, it looked like he was going to turn it, and he put on the brakes right away.
I think Freeman could have made it to third, but on the other hand, you don't want to be the first out at third base. He's in scoring position, and we need base runners, we need hits, and that's a great way to start it.
And I'll add to that list that you just made momentum as well. If you get out on after a hit like that, it's going to take you right back to where you were in the top half of the first. Yeah. Just a little bit of life is something, and hitting this one over, almost a sacrifice hit of sorts for Uzawa.
Well, the good thing is he got the base runner over to third, and you know, if we can score 9 single runs, we'll go to extra innings today. We got to look at the positives.
If we go to extra innings, I'll eat my hat. Tyler Vanesti. He's been really good in extra innings this year. Speak of it. Wants an opportunity to be back there. That one's fouled aside.
Boy, both teams are coming out swinging. I think there's only been 4 pitches so far in this game. And we got Freeman at third, 1 out, and Vanesti went after the first pitch.
Here comes Yeager with the throw and a swing and a miss. A rare swing and a miss at that from Vanesti.
That was a change up from Yeager. Had Vanesti way out front. He was just able to get a piece of it, I think. He might have missed it totally. I think he fouled it, or Freeman would have come home on that.
Ooh, that one was awfully close. I think even Vanesti was surprised that it didn't clip for a strike, but he held off.
Yeah, home plate Brian Stair stood up like it was going to be a strike and then decided to call it a ball.
Vanesti going to send this one over into center field. It's going to drop down. A bobble by the left fielder, sliding into second, and he is safe. I think if Medina is on the other side of the bag, he might have a chance to get him, but it was a far reach, And Vanesti allows the Mavs to get one on the board here in the bottom half of the first. So Carter Roth will come up to bat with one on second. It's one way to chip away, just get one.
Exactly.
So not an ideal start for Yeager either.
Could be one of those games where the pitchers don't even want to go out to the mound when they're called.
Well, near the hands of Roth.
We've already had 9 hits, and the first inning isn't over.
You can see the jersey of Yeager has come untucked from the wind blowing at his back.
That wind keeps shifting. It's blowing out to right field now. Before it was blowing in from left field.
2-0 the count. 1 out. Vanesti over on second with one of the best hitters in the league as he's going to send this one into left field. Vanesti to third. He'll keep an eye on the left fielder in Janner and not move any further. Runners are on the corners and Roth back into the hit column.
And it's a crazy game sometimes.
We could see more runs in this first inning between these two teams than in the entire last game. Even in the game that went 10 innings, we could have more than that one. I think that one had 11 in total. We're almost at that.
We've already got 10 runs. There's only 1 out. Middle infield looking for a double play.
Volcano sends this one aside.
Vanesti at third, Roth at first.
Foul off there from Volcano. He's not happy with it.
Curveball just had Volcano out front. On deck, Jaden Babiuk.
He had a real good day. He's had a real 2 good days in a row. Throw over to first. They're going to check on Roth, who's got good speed. Crowd doesn't like it.
Yeah.
A
few bluebirds.
Here's the throw. Volcano fouls it straight backwards.
He was right on that.
So Volcano will go another round here. Yeager. Into it, strides forward. And did Volcano go? He did.
Oh, really?
2 outs for the Mavs. Jaden Babiuk coming to the plate. Babiuk batting higher up in the lineup than usual. He's been moving his way up there game by game, and it's been due to that great hitting performance last night, the night before. He's a contact hitter, loves to flare it out to left. That's where he lives.
He definitely is a spray hitter. Doesn't have a lot of power, but the ball seems to land on the green and the outfield a lot.
Babiuk will foul that aside. I was told that he did hit 2 home runs in BP yesterday, however. So there is some power deep inside. When we will see it, that's the question. He had 2 home runs in Brooks last year as well.
And you've been saying the wind's been blowing a lot the last couple of days, so there are home runs in his bat.
This one is sent high out to right. Is it right on cue to the wall, and it will just stay in. Oh, that was so close to being such a great moment. And instead, the Mavs only get 1 in the bottom of the first. It is an 8-run lead still for the Berries as we head to inning number 2. Ethan Menard will begin the top of the second, rather. Feels like we should be at the bottom of the second. This game is moving in molasses. Garrick Levesque on the mound. His first throw is a ball. Nobody warming up behind him here as the Mavs trail by 8. Menard with a home run in his first plate appearance. And actually, I don't believe this is Menard at the plate right now.
It's Murdoch.
It is Murdoch.
The Mavs are going to have. Sorry, the Mavs are going to have to hold the Berries here now. We need a quick inning, get back in on the bats, and keep going to work and chipping away at that lead.
I was going to mention, I was just listening to the PA announcer, and I heard Menard coming up to bat, so that's where I got crossed up in things. You can't always hope for a performance or two performances like we've seen from the Mavs relievers the last 2 days with Centella and Diaz, where they completely shut down games. Diaz obviously getting the loss in extra innings, but he just gave up the 1 run, and then Centella with one of the best pitching performances I have seen here.
Well, we definitely don't want to see Menard at the bat. He's been up to bat twice and has 2 home runs so far.
Full count here. Houston on deck. Murdoch waiting for the throw. Here it comes from Levesque. This one's going to be pounded over towards short. Volcano gets it into his glove, sends it over to Morrison, and that is out number 1. So a better start to inning number 2 for the Mavs and their defensive unit. And ahead is Nathan Houston. 3 errors already in this game as well between the two squads. And we hadn't seen a lot of sloppy baseball over the Regina series. Here's the throw from Levesque. Fouled aside by Houston. For a team like the Berries, does this take pressure off of you now that you're up by 8 runs, or is there still a bit of pressure knowing that you could relinquish that?
Well, I'm sure they watched the game last night. The Mavs were down by 7 runs and came back and won 9-7. So they're up by 8 runs. They're probably not feeling that secure yet. Maybe if it was the 7th or 8th inning, yes, but not now.
Here's Houston, a slow roller. Vanesti's under it, and he's over to first. 2 quick outs. Good work from Levesque. He's looking comfortable.
Well, and the Mavs right now, we've said they've got to have shutdown innings. No more walks, no more errors. Yeah, you might, but boy, the margin of error for the Mavs now is down to 0. They've got to play a flawless game for the next 8 innings.
And we know they can put up double digits, but you can't rely on your team to put up double digits every game. Levesque, there's a strike for him. And for Levesque, as a pitcher who comes into a game where you're trailing a lot already, does that take pressure off of him on the mound?
Yeah, right now you're just trying to compete on the mound. Anything you can give the team to help save your pitching staff for the rest of the day. They're playing the Berries again tomorrow. His job is to go out there and try to shut down the Berries as long as he can. Odds are he's not going to finish this game, but he needs to have a good performance and at least give the Mavs a chance to come back.
This one's sent high over to center field. Freeman got off a bit slow, and it goes all the way over to Adam Volcano.
That wind is terrible out there.
Oh, it's a hurricane in the sky, and it looks like a hurricane on the scoreboard. A mess for the Mavs so far, 9-1. The Berries lead, but a shutdown inning from Garrick Levesque. There's still a chance early on. Coming up to bat for the Mavs is Evan Morrison. Morrison didn't play yesterday. He struggled at the plate this year. It's been home run or strikeout for him, a theme we saw last year. But when he's patient, he's deadly. He's going to be patient on this one, take it for strike one.
Seven, 8, 9 hitters up for the Mavs. They got to get something going. Good change up from Yeager.
And I don't believe there's a relation between the two Yeagers in the league, Jackson Yeager and Merrick. And swing and a miss. 3 pitches, Morrison's down.
Yeager from Munster, Saskatchewan, a small town that's producing big-time baseball players. Munster is about 75 miles east of Saskatoon on Highway 5, just outside of Humboldt, Saskatchewan. But boy, they've had great baseball in that Munster area forever, and their 18U team is pumping out great collegiate players.
Potentially some major leaguers one day.
Well, I think Logan Hoffman was drafted out of there a couple of years ago in the 5th round. So, and I'm not exactly sure where he is playing, but that's a big-time draft pick. And I think that year there was only 5 rounds of draft because of COVID, and he was one of the top players drafted in North America.
Here's a swing and a miss for Adam Volcano. He had a great day yesterday, and it was his home run that sparked the comeback. And I use the word spark because I read a great article last night from James Tubb, and he wanted to use the word spark to steer through his article, and he did a very good job with it. And I encourage you to go check it out if you haven't already. James always writes great pieces for the Medicine Hat News. But Volcano was needing that. Been struggling all year, hadn't played a whole bunch, and it was good to get back in the lineup. That one's going to be caught at first by Menard, so a pop out for Adam in his first at-bat today. Micah Dvorak will come up with 2 out now. And a slower inning here from the Mavs. It felt like they bit back a little last inning, and now things have gotten a little sloppier at the plate. Dvorak going to foul this one off. It's going to go all the way towards the Mavs dugout, over the dugout actually, and there won't be a play over at third.
Just getting back to the Munster scene, another pitcher, Dallin Rood from Munster, is on the Berries pitching staff, as is Reese Bronze.
Here's a grounder over to second base into the glove of Medina, and that's out number 3 at first. So a 1-2-3 inning, a better inning for Yeager on the mound, and the Berries keeping their lead intact. No pressure at their backs that time around. And we'll see if the Mavs can do the same in the top of the 3rd inning. We'll send it over to our friends at Flow Sports for a quick word. third inning. Garrick Levesque back on the mound. This one fouled aside into the tree on the right. It's gotten a little bit darker here as the top of the third has began. The weather coming from the left-hand side. We haven't seen any raindrops since before the game.
Yeah, just a passing shower, and it seems to have passed us by.
Count is 1-1. Levesque out of Tabor College. We'll talk more about them later on in the broadcast. And we apologize, we forgot to do our communities and universities segment yesterday. It was a wild game, so we got caught up and focused on the action that was going on, and we didn't want to take away from said action. Bouncer in the dirt. Babiak will keep it in front of him. Didn't need to with nobody on, but 3-1 the count. Levesque needs a strike or it'll be a leadoff walk. This one hits skyward. Long way to go from Volcano. Too far, and it hits off one of the top poles in the batting cage.
Yeah, the wind is really pushing the ball in that direction. We were mentioning that the wind just shifted when Volcano came to the plate, and then Babiak's ball didn't have the wind in his favor at all.
Fouled off. Levesque working hard out there, trying to give his team an opportunity. As Wayne said in the last inning, Mavs need to be spotless. Here's one that's cracked towards Volcano. Tough play to make. Back into his glove. Down to first. And he is out. Oh, a juggling act from Johnny Volcano. He couldn't do that again even if he tried. It happened to land right above his arm, and he flinged it over to first. And somehow, some way, it was in time.
He had to barehand that. He didn't have time to catch it and make the transfer, and he caught it barehanded and threw a strike over to Morrison. Bang, bang at first.
And we've seen Volcano have a couple of struggles in the outfield. That time around, it was a lot different. That ball was scorched towards him.
Yeah.
And even if he were to miss it, I don't think you can charge him with an error on that one. That would have just been a tricky play.
Yeah, and just so people know, we're not the official scorekeepers. Yeah, that ball was hit very, very hard.
A big first out for the Mavericks here. Levesque ahead in his next count now. This one fouled back towards the net. He's in the strike zone at the moment. We saw him in in his last couple appearances getting outside. He was missing with some of his off speed, and right here, right now, it's a different story. Levesque with a heater there. That one stings off the bat. Mason Rell behind 0-2. Rell was higher in the order last time he played against the Mavs at Athletic Park. Comes the throw from Levesque. Beauty as it slices its way in there.
Yeah, backdoor curveball. Rell gave up on it, and it just broke across the plate.
So 2 batters and 2 outs for Garrick Levesque. He'll see the 9-hole hitter, Evan Janner. I'm sure he would like to keep Carter Beck on the bench for one more inning.
Yeah, if he's going to come up to the plate, don't have anybody on. However, he's come up twice to the plate with nobody on and has been on both times.
There's a swing and a foul off the foot from Janner.
Boy, these Saskatoon Berries, they just pummel you when they come out with their sticks swinging. I can see why they've got 19 wins and only 3 losses this year.
And they're not just making contact, they're making contact. Like, they're hitting it right in the barrel.
Yeah, they're not missing it. Levesque has done a great job so far. He's retired 6 in a row.
Levesque will let that arm hang. Now here comes the throw. Janner's going to fly this one high, and it is
He knows.
gone.
He
There it
knows.
is. That ball took forever to climb down from the clouds and back into the tree on the right-hand side. Another homer for the Berries in this game, and their firepower proving them well.
Boy, his launch angle was about 70 degrees, it seemed, and there was no doubt that got up there. And it was one of those high-hit bombs that you're wondering, and then all of a sudden you realize, yeah, it's way out of here.
It was a flop shot.
Yes, yeah. That's his second home run of the game and 4th RBI.
Carter Beck is back at the dish. First run given up by Levesque through his 2 innings pitched. Sends another strike Beck's way. He won't swing. For Carter Beck, he was named the Rookie of the Year in the WCBL a season ago. He's got aspirations of getting an MVP, maybe a playoff MVP this year if his Berries can go all the way. That one fouled aside. And it was tough for the Berries. Once they beat the Mavs in the first round last year, they lost a lot of their players. So when they saw Moose Jaw in that second round series, they didn't have many bodies left. That allowed for the Miller Express to make their way all the way to the finals. I'm not trying to discredit the Miller Express, but the Berries were a lot different of a team when they saw Medicine Hat.
Yeah, if you want to win in this league, you got to have all of your players, your best players certainly, right through until the end of the playoffs. Moose Jaw had Houston and Houston and Mensick last year who were really good. That Nate Mensick was a pleasure to watch too. I'm glad he's out of the league.
I'd honestly like to see him play more,
Yeah.
but
He ran everything out hard. It didn't matter whether it was a dribbler back to the pitcher. He ran hard down to first base.
he was the type of player you'd want on your team. Here's Beck along the ground, and this will be the first time that he goes out in this game. 3 innings, 3 plate appearances for Carter Beck. The Berries have moved well around their order, and that time around moving well around the base path, but not having to move fast was Evan Janner, who hit one out. The 5th home run of the night for the Berries. So the Mavs are at the top of their order to start off the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Surrendered 1 run in the top half. Merrick Yeager back on the mound for the Berries. First pitch from Yeager gets a foul from Freeman. Hit a double to start his day. Freeman is going to lace this one over to left, and it is going to roll all the way to the back, nearly to the back wall. Jeremy will have another double, so his day's looking real bright.
Yeah, the first double was right down the right field line into the corner. This one's down the left field line.
Now, you're not going to win with Freeman hitting a double every time and maybe Uzawa moving him over to third and then him eventually scoring, but it'll help you for a while.
Wind blowing in from left field again.
Uzawa takes that pitch for a strike. Waiting on deck is Tyler Venesti with no outs.
Janner playing very shallow in left field. Right and center fielders are rather deep.
Low throw to Uzawa. I'm curious towards what the conversations are like in the Mavericks dugout right now. Yesterday, despite trailing 7-0, I was told that their spirits were still very, very high. Lots of players trying to get guys up on their feet. Johnny Volcano at the front of that. Uzawa's going to miss.
Well, I don't believe that they think this game is over. I think they believe that they can still come back.
I think one of the biggest things out of that is, despite what the other team's jerseys are on the other side and what their record says, they don't care about that. Uzawa is going to take a stinger as he fouls it off his ankle. We've seen that a lot from players the last couple of days. Babiuk had, I think, 2 yesterday that he fouled off his own shin.
Well, most of the players are standing right up on the plate. And any of those pitches that are inside, and that pitch was inside, if they're going to foul it, they're going to get it right off their shin or their foot.
And for those of you that are curious, I know this is switching gears a bit, but we do not know the all-time record for most home runs by a team in a game. I tried to look it up. I don't have an answer. But if the Berries keep mowing away like this, they're going to get awfully close. Uzawa is going to foul that away on a 2-2 count. So he'll stick around.
Yeager really slows down his arm action when he throws that off-speed pitch.
He's not trying to hide it by any means.
No, not at all. His fastball's got good giddy up on it. He's got good location on the curveball.
Uzawa, a swing and a miss. That one dipped down low and got him.
That was a great pitch. Broke in under his bat, aiming for his back foot.
Venesti takes a deep breath, steps up to the plate to face Yeager. I think they forgot to turn his walk-up song off. An extended play here. Venesti, a swing and a miss.
The music's still going while the play is going on. Yeah, it would have been nice for Uzawa to get the runner over to third and give Venesti a chance to drive him in.
Venesti still might be able to do so. We know what he can do.
Well, with Freeman's speed.
Venesti, a swing and a miss.
That good off-speed pitch.
He's wanting he's wanting it to be a fastball.
Yeah, he is. Every hitter wants it to be a fastball because that's what they're gearing up for, and that's where the pitchers want you to think it's a fastball and throw you something off speed.
Except for Caden Williams of Okotoks. He wanted the off speed all day long. Venesti's going to foul that one off his foot.
We've seen sometimes with Venesti, when he hits a single out to right field or center field, he hits it so hard that the runner on second base doesn't have a chance to score because it gets to the outfielder so quick.
I think the softest hit he had this year was the one that bounced off first base and then rolled a little bit further.
Venesti's still trying to get the cobwebs out of his foot.
Venesti, did he go?
Yeah, he
Yes, he did. A rare strikeout for Tyler Venesti. 2 down here for the Mavs. Freeman still over at second base. And up heads Carter Roth. So the one run that Yeager gave up, he's looking real good. First pitch to Roth is a strike. He doesn't offer.
Lots of curveballs coming from Yeager. Off-speed curveball pitches.
You make yourself hard to be beaten when you're hitting with your off-speed.
You also have to respect his fastball, so you're kind of in between a lot.
Roth is down 0-2.
And that's that fastball, just catches the outside corner.
Few looks here from Yeager. This one off the end of the bat. Freeman created a bit of a distraction over to first, and they get Roth. He made it competitive towards the end, but the Mavs leave one stranded in the bottom of the third inning, and that does not help in a game that they trail mightily. And good work from Yeager on the mound. He's looked sharp. Sky has gotten eerily dark here in Medicine Hat. No sign of raindrops yet, and that one's going to drop into center field for a base hit. Menard will start things off on the right foot here for the Berries. So there'll be one on for Abiam Medina. Levesque still on the mound for the Mavericks. Menard making a little bit of a shifty move at first. Levesque looks away from it and sends a strike Medina's way. Getting a little bit windy out there again. We've seen the wind blow all sorts of directions. Then it stayed put there for a bit. Now it's back up.
Whoops.
From pens to phones. 1-0 1-1 here between Levesque and Medina. Levesque will throw it over to first. And once this top half of the fourth concludes, we will have our head-to-head. And I got to inform you right now, it's going to look a lot different. The run totals on the season between both teams are not what they are now with the game that Saskatoon has had. And they're inching closer and closer to that first place spot. I think they were fourth coming to today, behind Moose Jaw, Okotoks, and of course Medicine Hat, who are in first. But things are about to change, and the Berries are about to get going. 2-1 the count. Levesque will miss wildly with that one. Menard is going to walk over to second and take
There was
his
a balk
base.
called.
You're right, Wayne called a balk there on
Yeah.
Levesque.
I thought Levesque came up to his chest and paused and then moved his glove up to his chin. And I was going to say, gee, I think that could be called a balk. And they ended up calling it a balk.
JT will get a quick word in with the umpire over near third base. It was a quick chat.
Yeah.
We'll look back towards Medina now at the plate. He's threatening to walk here, and with pressure on deck from Murdoch, Levesque doesn't want to give up a free base, and he's going to give one. Oh, no, he will not. That ball carried much further than it looked like it was going to. I think the wind has played a couple of tricks on us in this game. That ball had some droppage on it, and fortunately for Micah Dvorak and left, it was into his glove.
Yeah, he didn't have to move very much, did he? It was right at him.
So Murdoch ahead with a 1 out, and another EM on the base path. That's Ethan Menard. Pitch from Levesque. This one is
Ouch.
hit hard, and it is carrying a long ways. Getting down under it is Adam Volcano. For the second time, one has been hit that way that just doesn't carry far enough. We saw Babiuk for the Mavs earlier, and this time Menard feels the effects of the wind changing directions.
Yeah, that one didn't have much arc to it at all, and they would just hit it more on a line. Adam Volcano, great job of running that down, catching it on the warning track.
And he stayed with it. There's been a couple tonight where when it's a no-doubter, the outfielders will turn around. If he turns around on that one, that ball is going to land in play. Now the Mavs with a chance to sneak out with Menard getting to second. Now he's over at third. It'll be a key moment as Houston's going to swing and miss. But we know Houston, at least in previous years, has had a great batting average. So it'll be a tough out here for Levesque. Levesque, a quick arm swing. Didn't have to stare long. Likes the call from Babiuk, and he loves the pitch as well as Houston swings through it.
Houston only one of a couple of players who haven't been on base tonight. Haven't been a lot of base runners because the Berries keep running around the bases.
Here comes Levesque. This one's going to be poked out. Roth couldn't jump high enough, and I'm not sure a lot of humans could have jumped high enough to grab that one. Houston with an RBI single, and it is now a 10-run lead once again for the Berries. Now, we do want to remind you folks, the weather in the area is a bit greasy, I think is the way that we'll put it. It should stay away, as we've mentioned, but if for whatever reason this game did not make it through 5 innings, it would actually be canceled and rescheduled for another day. They'd have to play it again from zeros. So I'm sure the Mavs would not be mad with a result like that. It's not likely. It's not something you can bank on. And that would be disappointing for the Berries, who've put on a showcase here in the first couple of innings.
Yeah, all those stats would be erased. And we got Menard with 3 for 3 with 2 home runs tonight. That would be a disaster for somebody like that, but that's baseball. They might play a doubleheader tomorrow.
Levesque is going to have this one hit all the way towards Volcano again. He jumps into it and makes the play. 2 great rundowns for Adam Volcano over in right field. And a great at-bat from Nathan Houston, who had a single for the Berries as he knocks in another run, and it gave the Berries a 10-run lead. And speaking of runs, let's look at the total between these two teams. thus far, and this does not count today's game, obviously. It's closer now than it was before. 205 on the season for the Mavs, 194 for the Berries. And so the Mavs only 1 run up on them in the team totals. Team records on the year, 1-2 are the Mavs, which means, of course, 2-1 are the Berries. And if this game keeps on the trajectory that it's on, it'll be 3-1 for the Berries and 1-3 for the Mavs. And those records on the year, the Mavs trailing the Berries in the standings. They're 2 behind them in wins, as they're 17-8 on the year. 19-3 are Saskatoon. They haven't been beaten a lot, although the Mavs have figured out how to do so. But it could be a bigger lead for the Saskatoon squad. We'll see where things end up. And we will see you after a quick commercial break and a word from Igniter Tickets. Johnny Volcano up at the plate here in the bottom of the 4th inning with the Mavs trailing by 10. And if you're just joining us and wondering what the hit totals are in a 10-run game, it is 10 hits exactly for the Saskatoon Berries. As this one is going to land over and into the glove of Ethan Menard for out number 1. The Mavs hit total only 4, so they have not been the elite offense that we've seen throughout the rest of their season. It's got to be a bit of a shock to the system for the Mavericks, who are not used to playing in a game that looks like this one does. Jaden Babiak up to bat. For Saskatoon, they don't got to worry about warming up anybody else. Jaeger's pitched good, and in a game like this, you want to have a guy go all the way because you're already winning. You don't need to switch it up.
Yeah, you can allow him some leniency, even if he gets in trouble, as long as he's okay and his pitch count isn't up high, you can let him go.
Babiak, a long swing and a miss. He's behind 0-2.
It was kind of interesting on that pop fly by Volcano. The second baseman called it, and it went all the way over to the first baseman who caught it.
Babiak, bit of a half swing there as he goes over towards second, and Medina will play it to first for out number 2. And I think I should mention, and I mentioned this when Okotoks visited a couple of times this year, and the Mavericks ended up beating them in both, and those Okotoks teams were not what they're going to be. They add lots of players throughout the season. That's not their full package. We didn't see Logan Grant. We didn't see Ricky Sanchez. And in a game like this, if you are watching the Mavericks for the first time, this is not what they look like all the time. This is a different game. This is their worst game by far this season. And there is still time to go. Morrison, a swing and a miss. And, of course, Aaron Volcano, quite the player. He's out of the lineup tonight. So when playoff time comes around, you won't expect the Mavericks to look this way. You may expect the Berries to look this dominant, though. They are the real deal. This is not a knock on them in any way. Count is 1-1 to Morrison. He's going to let that one hang, and so it is a ball and ball 2. Morrison thought about it.
Oh. I was just about a called strike. So it's full count now.
Morrison. This one over towards Medina. He picks it up off the grass. A lawnmower play. A stretch play at first is made by Menard. Not an easy one for Ethan Menard. He takes care of business, and that takes care of the 4th inning. We will head up to the 5th, but first let's take a look at 2 pitchers who have been good presences for both of these teams this year. Of course, for the Mavericks, Luis Diaz has been outright dominant, a 3.81 ERA. He's already pitched in 32 innings. He's got 28 strikeouts. That's top 5 in the league, and he's a reliever. He hasn't started any games. And for Adam Beeman, we saw him last time here. He navigates his way around batters real well. He's a piece that the Berries will love to have, a second-year guy there. He's only pitched in 9 and 1 innings so far this year. He's got a 3.85 ERA and 8 strikeouts. But as the season progresses, so will the workload for Beeman. And I'm sure when playoffs come around, he will be a guy that is used a lot. So those are your 2 feature players for the night, as we have every night. And while we're featuring them, we might as well feature one of our sponsors. And of course, that is Town Place Suites by Marriott, the premier hotel here in Medicine Hat, Alberta, and the Saskatoon Berries. They're in town for 2 games, so you know where they're staying. Town Place Suites. Regina in town for 2 games. Where do they stay? Town Place Suites, the best spot and best hotel in the Gas City. First pitch here results in a foul. Another inning of work for Levesque. He might be out there for a little bit. The Mavericks don't need, similar to the Berries, but for a different reason. They don't need to bring anybody else up because they're not trying to save a game or even stay close. Whatever happens, happens. This one out to Freeman for out number 1. Of course, that's not to suggest that they're forfeiting or saying this game is over. But Levesque hasn't done anything to harm himself or the team, and the score is where it is. Mason Roll will be up next.
Just a weather update. I think we're going to be getting some rain in about 30, 40 minutes.
So for the Berries, they're going to hope that the 5th inning finishes because then this game can be called. All the stats are saved. They don't even need to play 9. They can go back and get an extra rest. And I think that also benefits the Mavericks in some way. They've been needing a rest, and a couple more hours of sleep tonight would not be bad. But that all depends on how severe the weather is. If there's lightning or thunder in the area, and a thunderous hit up through center field off of the bat of Rel. When it rains, it pours, and not only is the weather suggested that that could happen, but the Berries' offense.
As always on the prairies, Saskatchewan, Alberta, we always need more rain. Our field could use more rain. You know, we love rain out in the prairies.
Yeah, lots of farmers, it is a miracle when it rains a lot of the time because we don't get a lot, and that can be a big difference for them. A lot of their earnings can come from that. Pitch is just going to miss from Levesque.
Yeah, very close to the last pitch.
You know, this is one moment where I am thankful to be a broadcaster. We get to be inside the booth over here.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that the weather or the temperature is nice outside. No swing there. A good at bat here from Janner.
Yeah, he was called on the swing. So it is a strike. Yeah, it was a late call by the umpire, but he did call him on the swing. So it's 2-2. Janner with 2 home runs in the game.
There's one that's fouled off by Janner. Won't be a play on it. In the spirit of talking about umpires a second ago, I did want to reflect and go back and shout out an umpire who did an amazing job earlier this year. Mike Richards, in a game that the Mavs had at home here, had one of the best strike zones that we've seen all season long, and that's, I think, across the league. I would imagine that his call rate was in the 90th percentile. He was really on it. And, of course, we want to highlight those who do a good job on the diamond, and that's beyond players. So good on you, Mike. Keep it going.
I think he had an outstanding game last night as well. He was at home.
Night.
That was 2 games ago, my mistake.
Janner's going to be hitting the back with that one, so he'll head off to first. And he's not moving at all. I thought that one plunked him right in the back. Wow.
I got to clean these windows, don't I?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm seeing out there.
Is it not full count? That must have hit his bat.
We might have gone into an alternate dimension over here, Wayne.
We're in the Matrix, Truman. We're in the Matrix.
So now it's full count. I guess if it hit his bat and then hit him in the back, then that would make sense to why he isn't over at first at the moment. This one is sent towards the Berries dugout, and it sends everybody shuffling. Like ants running away from a caterpillar down there.
Boy, this Janner, he's got a good bat. He's batting 9th. He's 10 for 10 in stolen bases with 2 home runs today.
And a swing and a miss from Janner that time.
That fastball up in the zone, and Janner just couldn't catch up to it.
Levesque doesn't use the fastball a whole bunch. He loves his off speed, loves to rely on it as well. There's a little off speed action as that one hangs in.
Is Carter Beck, does he automatically come up every inning to bat?
You know what? It's
He's up again.
Could be right with that.
He's up to bat again.
Could be one of those MLB The Show things where you're playing with your team builder and you can just have a whole bunch of the same guy in the lineup.
He's what Major League Baseball was talking about, being the golden batter. He comes up whenever you want him to come up.
My go-to in MLB The Show, a guy that I can bring up anytime, Rod Carew.
Yeah, he was a wonderful hitter.
Fouled away from Beck.
I got to just check to see how many times Beck has struck out this year. 3 times.
All 3 might have been against the Mavericks.
He struck out 6. He's walked 16, struck out 3.
Here's a high one. Oh, what a play by Morrison. Flipping it to first, not in time. That was a great catch. We saw a similar play from Aaron Volcano on a throw from short yesterday. And that's an athlete over there and a former basketball player as well. Like catching an alley-oop. Although Morrison unable to convert.
I think they would have had him, but Levesque was slow getting over to first. He was watching the play and not hustling over there, and Beck just beat him to the base. So Beck will have another hit.
There is a pitcher warming up down there for the Mavericks. And JT will move off the mound now. And I do have to apologize for not flipping the camera there so that you could see that play. That one's on me. I'll flip it back so that you can see more of the play now and not just the pitch. We're still working out the kinks here with this camera system.
Yeah, those are those little plays that, if you can get out of that inning, it might give Levesque another inning on the mound. And it was a lefty on lefty.
Good play by Babiak. I'm not sure how he saw that one as it skittered through the legs of Menard. I mean, props to Jaden today. He's done an excellent job behind the plate. I'm not sure anything's gotten past him so far.
No, both catchers have been very strong, and Babiak's had another great game defensively.
There's a strike for Levesque. Trying to get a number on who the pitcher is down there. It's hard to see from this angle. Way down there is Gary Dornan, but I don't think he's warming up. I think there's somebody else who's in the bullpen. Cesar Rodriguez having a conversation with him. We know it's a righty, so that eliminates a couple of people in the Mavericks lineup.
It's Ryan Dexter, number 27.
Dexter's pitched a lot at home this year. Hasn't pitched a lot of innings, and a swing and a miss. Boy, was that a hard swing from Menard. He was thinking homer again.
Yeah, he's 3 for 3 with 2 home runs, 3 RBIs. Levesque has challenged him. He's got a good fastball, especially when he keeps it up and in on Menard.
Just got to hope that Menard's not ready for it.
Yeah.
Here it comes. Menard is going to hit this one high and foul it backwards, long ways. It goes onto the concourse. So it's a 2-2 count with 2 on and 2 out. Currently in the top of the 5th inning, the Berries leading 11-1. Levesque, look over to first. Here comes the throw. Swing and a miss from Menard as he sits him down. 2 left stranded for the Berries in the top of 5, but their lead is still well beyond the possibility of catching up at the moment for the Mavericks. And the day might be over for Garrick Levesque, but he had a real solid outing. Did give up the 2 runs, but in most cases, he keeps his team right in it. And starting off the bottom of the 5th inning is Adam Volcano, only his 2nd at-bat of the night as he swings and misses at the first pitch here from Yeager. Yeager's been excellent. Hasn't allowed the Mavericks to climb back up.
Yeah, only 4 hits in this game he's given up. 2 of them, 2 doubles to Jeremy Freeman.
And this one will roll off the ankle. Another time where a batter swings and then has the ball go back into his body. Boy, it's contagious out there.
You know, they do have pads to put on your shin and on the top of your foot, and I'm always amazed why players don't wear them.
And heading back to things that are contagious, talk about skill sets. Yeager on the mound, and his pitching coach is former MLB player Andrew Albers, also
From
a former
North Battleford.
You bet.
Yep.
Also a former WMBL player when it was named that before the WCBL came into effect. It's his second year with the Berries. He had 3 stints in the MLB with 3 different teams. Of course, the Blue Jays and the Mariners, the Minnesota Twins. Max Hudlow is a Twins fan. He would have been watching him a lot.
He has a fantastic changeup, Albers. Didn't
Swing
throw
and
hard.
miss.
Albers did not throw hard, but he had such a good changeup and great location. He had great control. Also pitched overseas. He pitched over in Japan, I believe, or Korea, one of the Asian teams over there.
Yeah, and thankfully for the Berries, he came back from there and joined their organization. Now, he was never a Saskatoon Berry himself, and we'll talk about this team a little bit further on in the broadcast, but he was a Saskatoon Yellow Jacket. If you've never heard that name, that's completely fair, and we'll give you a little bit of history on them later on. And here goes Micah Dvorak with a long hit. Could be a double as he rounds first. Hard stepping into second is Dvorak, and he's got himself a double, and that will take him out of a bit of a slump that he was trying to slither out of. Perfect timing for Jeremy Freeman Jr. He's hit the Berries well tonight. If there's a player of the game in the early goings here, it's got to be Freeman.
Yeah, he's had 2 good at-bats, a double down the right field line, a double down the left field line.
He was on today's poster that they were selling in the Mavericks souvenir store. Here comes Yeager. Swing and a miss from Freeman. And he even gifted one of his posters to one of his buddies, I believe, on the other team in Abiam Medina. They were chatting pregame. Both excellent hitters, and they might be chatting a little more later on if they see each other at the All-Star game. Both have had numbers that would be worthy. Dvorak over to third base as that one gets away from Sorensen. The first real bloop for him tonight. Balin always consistent defensively.
Yeah, a wild pitch from Yeager. No chance for Sorensen.
One's across the board, and one over at third is Dvorak. Anything near the field, even into a glove deep in the field, would work. Ooh, right across the chest. That one nearly scraped Freeman.
I'm not sure Freeman's going to get another fastball. That fastball might have just been to get him off the plate because he's hit 2 doubles off fastballs.
Swing and a miss, and there's a changeup down low. That was anything but a fastball.
I think he can expect the same, so look to go to right field, Jeremy. Oh,
And a swing and a miss.
did get him with a fastball.
I'm sure Freeman would have liked that double from his last plate appearance in this one as he strikes out for the first time tonight, and it'll bring up Yusei Uzawa. Feels like he's due 0 for 2 today. That one will hit low for a strike. It might have gotten a little bit brighter outside in the last couple of minutes. Seems like that field is popping out a bit more. Another strike. Uzawa, not a fan of that one as he jolts backwards.
That was a good pitch. I like the sequence of pitching that Sorensen and Yeager are using.
Certainly calculated. Here's one over to second base, and it'll be played to first. Rather to the second baseman Medina as he wraps that one up, puts a bow on it, sends it to Menard, and another inning where the Mavs are unable to get any runs. That's 4 consecutive. And I was talking earlier about the Saskatoon Yellow Jackets, and there's a reason for that. The Yellow Jackets, they were a former team in the WMBL. They were since they since vacated that. They played at Cairns Field, so the same place that the Berries play, and I believe they're under the same franchise, but the records from the Yellow Jackets did not carry over to the Berries because they are technically a different team. They had 0 titles. Their final record in their last season, which was 2014, was 20-26. That's when the WMBL had less games. So they are no longer in the league. The Edmonton Prospects, the same. In last year, they were not great. 12-44 on the season. They played at Remax Field, also won 0 titles throughout their time in the league. They were the Big River Prospects before that. This year, they are a new team, and we'll get to that in a moment. I'm sure you can predict who it is. But first, let's talk about the Yorkton Cardinals. If you've never heard of Yorkton, it's a small place in Saskatchewan. They played out of Jubilee Park. They also had 0 titles. You can see a theme here with these 3. And their final record was 6-50. 6 wins in their last year in 2019. A sad way for the Cardinals to go. But some excitement followed once those teams exited, and it brought in teams like the Saskatoon Berries, despite that gap between when the Yellow Jackets were in the league and when the Berries were in the league. Saskatoon's got baseball back, and that's great to see. First season was last season, 31-25, their record, no titles. And the Energy City Cactus Rats, they take over for the Edmonton Prospects, still under the same umbrella. They don't have any titles because this is their first year. No record so far to say because the season's not over. And they're going to play at My Shack Metro. Still some maintenance being done there, so they're playing all over. And the final team I want to talk about before we get back to the action is the Sylvan Lake Gulls. Their first season was 2021, and similar to the Berries, they got off on fire. It didn't look like they were an expansion team at all. And despite not having any titles, they are a title threat every year. And you can assume that they'll be in the mix again this season.
So what about Melville? They dropped out of the league the same time as Yorkton.
They did. I did not have enough room on the graphic to include
Okay.
Melville.
All right. I was thinking, Melville used to be in the league.
We apologize to Melville, and I guess we apologize to the Fort Mac Giants as well, as that one's caught over in left field by Dvorak, because they're a fairly new franchise as well. And so I guess we'd be remiss without mentioning those two. Thank you, Wayne, for adding that on the side.
So a question, if Edmonton has the same ownership, so if you just change your name, do you not have any record anymore? Because Pat Cassidy owned the Edmonton Prospects. They were out of the league, I think, for 1 year.
They were just the 1 year, correct.
And now they're back in, and none of the stats carry over from the Prospects?
So for them, it's different. Theirs is just a rebrand. Saskatoon is technically a brand new group, although I think they're owned by the same people from before. I could be wrong. That one's startling as it landed above us.
Yeah, to me, I think if you have a franchise in your city, no matter who owns it, it should be carried on. The stats are from that city, the Saskatoon Yellow Jackets. I remember them in the league. Now you got the Saskatoon Berries. It's kind of like the old NHL franchises. They were teams that nobody had ever recognized their name nowadays, but they still keep the same stats.
This one is sent towards Micah Dvorak and left. He's got a long way to go, but he will land under it. And a couple of raindrops may land with that ball as well, as there is some water in the air. And you're talking about the NHL franchises. It's so funny because the first thing I thought of was the Winnipeg Jets. Their records are split because the Winnipeg Jets turned into the Arizona Coyotes, who are now the Utah Mammoth, although their records didn't carry over. So it's this weird string of things where everybody has each other's records and nobody has their own.
Yeah.
While we were talking a lot about expansion and teams changing ways, recording 2 strikeouts was Ryan Dexter. Or 2 strikeouts, 2 outs was Ryan Dexter.
Yeah, Dexter on the mound.
1-1 the count here for Ryan. He's going to get Houston to pop up backwards. Ooh, that one hit something else hard. Hopefully it wasn't a pickup truck. Count is 1-2. Houston hits this one, a high bounce to Vanesti, and he throws it to first. A 1-2-3 inning for the Mavs. It hasn't been very common within this game, but they get to that foot here, and they'll take it. Well, me and Wayne were talking off air, extending our conversation about defunct teams in the league, and Wayne brought up a couple of more that I wasn't even aware of, and one that never even happened to become an expansion team.
Yeah, Cranbrook, British Columbia were awarded a franchise, I think, back in 2017. And I believe it was contingent upon them getting a stadium. But Red Deer were in the league for a couple of seasons. And then they pulled out. I'm not exactly sure what happened. Oyen used to be the Oyen Pronghorns, so they were in the Saskatchewan Major Baseball League. And I believe their franchise moved to Lethbridge when Lethbridge came back in 204, I believe 204.
That's funny.
Kindersley, another team, they've got a beautiful stadium in Kindersley. They've hosted the World Championships there for 18 and under back. Who was the big player that played with the Expos in Colorado? Larry Walker played in Kindersley in the World Championships and got signed out of that tournament. Wow. I believe he was like 16 or 17. You didn't have to be drafted in those days. Canadians weren't drafted.
It's wild how things have changed with that. And it's wild how the landscape of the league has changed. And it's funny, Kindersley, we're not saying this is a thing or suggesting that it needs to happen. We're just a couple of broadcasters, but potentially Kindersley an option for the future.
Well, North Battleford, they used to have the North Battleford Beavers, were a tremendous baseball powerhouse back in the day, and there's another town that probably could handle a team, North Battleford, Prince Albert.
Blake Dale knocks that one into right field for a base hit as he checks into this game. And I believe he's checking in in place of Carter Roth. So Roth's day is done. So we hope you enjoyed our little history of the WCBL and those who came before, teams like the Mavericks and Berries. It's going to drop low. I did want to make one more note. You talked about the Oyen Pronghorns going to Lethbridge. The University of Lethbridge is now named the Pronghorns, so I'm not sure if there's any correlation with that. I don't believe they have baseball there either, but it is funny how that came about, is Volcano will swing and miss.
I would really like to see, and I think the WCBL would like to see a team in that Yorkton-Melville area. They used to have 2 teams there, and they're only 10, 15 miles apart. And it can't probably handle 2 franchises, but 1 franchise, definitely.
This one over to right field, so Volcano will fly out. Yeah, the Melville Millionaires, former home to Austin L. He says he's always disappointed when people bring up that he played in Swift Current and in Brooks, and they don't mention that he was a pitcher in Melville. Of course, Austin, our director of operations here. So there's his shout out. He did pitch for Melville, if you're curious.
Well, Terry Poole, who is a Houston legend with the Houston Astros, is from Yorkton. Yorkton or Melville, one of those 2.
Babiuk in at the plate. 1 over on first. 2 outs. This game has picked up speed. It was a slow start. Of course, that top of the first inning where all the runs were scored was a large part of it. We're already in the bottom of the 6th. After this, just 3 more to play. The Mavericks haven't batted a lot in the bottom of the 9th this year, so it'll be a weird change for them. Babiuk will take that for a ball.
Well, we were talking earlier, I believe the Mavs were 11-0 at home until Regina beat them a couple of nights ago. Came back and won last night, so they're 12 out of 13. And we were saying that the Berries were 13-0 at home. So 2 teams that have very good records at home.
And it's not a coincidence that they're also the 2 best teams in the league this year,
right,
record-wise. Babiuk, a foul off. Jaden will step back in, the St. Albert native. He's going to foul that one to the backboard.
I think a new pitcher on the mound for Saskatoon, Michael Saul.
Saul from the University of Nebraska. He's a freshman over there. A couple of University of Nebraska guys throughout the league this year. They've been a good supplier for the WCBL. There's a Let's Go Berries chant echoing in Athletic Park. You never hear that. That's a rarity. A fan base that has grown so much throughout their first year and a half in this league, large in part due to their neat logo, but their colors are also very standoutish.
Well, great ownership group with the Berries, who own the Blades and the Saskatoon Rush.
And strike 3 to Babiuk as Dale was rushing over to second base. And we will speed out of this 6th inning and take you to the 7th when we come back. Still got lots to talk about on our broadcast tonight, including our communities and universities segment, which I promise will happen throughout this game. And we return to Athletic Park for the top of the 7th inning. Ryan Dexter still on the mound, so the longest he's gone with the Mavs this year, 2nd inning of work, facing Balin Sorensen to start, who's been behind the plate for a majority of tonight. And behind the plate now for the Mavericks is Nate King. There's a swing and a miss that gets Sorensen to chase. Babiuk not out of this game, though. He's moved to second base. So the Mavericks shuffling the deck here. Roth out of the game. And Blake Dale's playing over at third, I believe. So I think Vanesti also out. And speaking of out, there goes Sorensen as he strikes out. Good pitch from Ryan. Dexter moved from Mississauga to Ottawa when he was younger, and that's where he began his baseball career at around 8 years old. Big baseball fan himself. Has 2 favorite teams, the Blue Jays and the Red Sox, who many would consider rivals, but Dexter says he believes that it is okay to have 2 favorite teams.
I got about 4 or 5 of them. What's this with only having 1 or 2?
Here's the throw from Dexter. It'll bounce in the dirt. I wouldn't say I have any major favorites outside of the Yankees. Like, that's where I live and die, but always have pulled for the Royals. That run, where they made back-to-back World Series. Salvador Perez, one of my favorite players of all time. He was fun to watch. And nice play there from Babiuk over at second, getting a glove on it. Those dynasties that come out of nowhere, and the Royals maybe weren't a dynasty at that time, but they went to back-to-back World Series, and they almost lost out in the wild card at the start of that, and that nearly never happened for them. So that run was extra special. Talked to Xander Roberts yesterday. He's a big Royals fan. He remembers that run.
You do realize that the Yankees lost 7-0 today to the Oakland A's. Or not the Oakland A's, just the A's now. Yankees
they won't have a chance to lose to them in the postseason. So
they went down.
Not too worried about it. It's probably the mindset that the Mavericks got to have as well. Just got to keep thinking about that there's bigger baseball games to be played, and this one is just a chip off the old block.
Yeah, the Earth rotates every 24 hours, so the Mavs might be down today, and tomorrow might be their day.
And Coach JT has one of my new favorite sayings. He says, you get to wake up today, and you get to play baseball. And the get within that quote is what gets me. You get to do something, not you have to do something or you're going to do something. You get to do it. It's a privilege to be out here. Here's the throw from Dexter. One's going to miss wide, so the count's 2-2. Dexter, a little bit high on that one, and the count will run full. Speaking of running, we haven't seen the Berries have to steal very much. So that speed we talked about and their base stealing ability at the start of this game, they haven't had a chance to deploy it, which is a bit unfortunate. I'm sure they're fine with it. And not fine with that one are the Berries, as Dexter with a strikeout and a complaint at the plate by Mason Rell.
I think Rell might have had a complaint there, a legit one. That pitch did look like it was about
it was awfully
6
close.
inches
Joe
off the
Carnahan
plate.
gets in a word as well, and I think I can agree with both of them that it was worth the argument. So we enter the 7th inning stretch, and you know what that means. It's time for our communities and universities segment. And today, it is Tabor College. I know I foreshadowed this a bit earlier. They're on the docket tonight, located in Hillsboro, Kansas. Students enrolled there, not very many, 623. So there's more fans in the stands tonight than there are enrolled at Tabor. It was founded in 1908, a long, long time ago, back beyond comprehension for someone like me. It has 16 varsity sports teams, which includes baseball, a team that Garrick Levesque, Micah Dvorak, and Xander Roberts all played for. It is owned and operated by the Mennonite Brethren Church And they do have one person who's a part of their famous alumni group, and that is Jacob Webb, an MLB pitcher. And Wayne, I know you have your headset off, but I want to ask you, do you know who Jacob Webb is?
No.
Wayne, if you couldn't hear that in the background, he answered no. Well, Jacob Webb was not only a major league pitcher, but he was also a former Medicine Hat Maverick. So it's funny how this comes full circle with Tabor being in the mix, that their alumni representative on this graphic is a guy who also ties in with the Mavs and a guy who had success with the Mavs back in the day. And now we see Levesque and, of course, or Levesque rather, and Roberts on the mound doing what Webb did back in his heyday.
I was
Evan Morrison comes to the plate, starting off the bottom of the 7th inning. There's a new pitcher on the mound for the Berries, Wayne. Take me through it. And then I guess we haven't discussed the line score for Yeager. This one's going to be lined out to left field. There's out number 1. Morrison continues to have his woes at the plate.
I'm still working on the line score. Alex Shomro is the new pitcher. He's from Parker, Colorado. He's a freshman at West Texas A&M.
And I believe we saw Shumro last time, and he was really solid in his outing.
Well, I've got to recheck that because Shomro says is 6'5", and I'm not sure who we're seeing on the mound is 6'5".
If anybody's yelling at their television asking us to get glasses, we both are wearing glasses, I promise you.
It's hard to tell the numbers on the back of the Berries uniforms.
And they don't make an announcement within the stadium to who's on oftentimes because we just don't know.
We know it's 30-something. It could be 39, Carter Copp from Saskatoon.
Well, Carter Kopp, and I don't know if it's his father or not. I apologize if it isn't, but there's been someone with a Carter Kopp jersey in the audience for every single Berries game since the very beginning. And it is signed, so I assume it's a relative of his or a friend. And he usually sits right a couple rows below the broadcast booth. I do not see him currently, but he's been down there in the past. And I do think it is 39.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with whatever 39 is. Here's Volcano with a deep drive over to left field, and that one will be caught for out number 2. Almost 2 home runs in 2 days for number 2. Now up is Micah Dvorak, who had a nice plate appearance last time as he drove one all the way to the back wall, rolling along the ground.
Yeah, Dvorak had 2 hits last night. He's got a double tonight. He's 1 for 2.
So we're going to go with that it's Carter Kopp on the mound
Yeah,
from St. Xavier University.
Yeah.
Saskatoon native.
Kopp is 5'10" listed, not 6'5" as Shomro was. So my apologies to both those families.
Dvorak will swing, and fortunately for him, that one didn't catch him in the leg. He duck dived and dodged his way around it.
And he's not right up on the plate like a lot of the other hitters are.
This one is struck well. Does it have the legs to get all the way there to the back wall? It's going to bank off it. Dvorak hot around second base, steamrolling his way into third, and it's a triple for Micah.
Well hit ball.
That's what Dvorak can do. We talked about that he was getting out of his rhythm, maybe looking a little bit fatigued, but his last 2 at-bats have been vintage Micah Dvorak. And now a chance for Freeman to drive him in. May not amount to anything, but a little bit of momentum, some confidence for tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, you wake up feeling a little bit better. See if Freeman can do that. Kopp on the mound. Here comes the throw. That one is going to miss.
Yeah, if the Mavs can win the next 3 innings, the seventh, eighth, and ninth, then you do have that momentum that you're talking about. Ooh, even the fans are moaning on that one. That pitch looked like the one that was called out on Rel last inning. It was quite a bit outside.
Freeman over towards short. That one took a last-minute hop, but it is collected and sent over to first place by Nathan Houston. And so that will finish off the bottom of the seventh inning. Dvorak doesn't come in to score. Freeman out once again after a great start to the day. And the Mavs are still in the spot that they've been for, trying to do the math in my head, 6 innings in a row. I believe that's 6 innings in a row. Zeros across the board. It has not been a delightful night. Evan Janner, the 9-hole hitter, who's had himself a pretty good night, comes to the plate here in the top of the 8th inning with Ryan Dexter still out on the mound. It's been an impressive appearance here from Ryan Dexter, who hasn't seen a lot of time on the mound. He's making the most of it this time around, however. Janner calls for time. He'll get back into the batter's box. That batter's box has taken a beating. The latter half of it, the closest side towards us, is covered now. You can't even see the white line anymore. Fortunately for both teams, I think, no bad weather entered the area, and it looks like it's almost getting sunnier out there. The clouds are drifting away as that one drifts away from Janner. Two and 0 the count. There is somebody warming up behind Dexter here, so the Mavs are ready if Ryan's day is going to be over, and that one down for a strike.
Attendance tonight is 1,150 fans. Reasonable crowd considering the weather that blew in right before the game.
And Janner will walk over to first. Looks like Danny Retzlaff might be warming up. And it is the lefty out there who's getting some throws in. Now, Danny's been used as a starter primarily in the past. It's interesting to see him coming in a scenario like this. Here's Dexter. Pitch there is going to land its way in for a strike. One on here for the Berries, nobody out. and Menard on deck, and the always dangerous Carter Beck at the plate. That one got away from Dexter.
There's action in the Berries bullpen as well, although we can't get a number. There is a number on his uniform, we just can't see it.
Could be 8, 6, 7, 5, maybe 3, maybe 0, maybe 9, who knows? Throw from Dexter, swing and a miss. Count is 2-2. But we'll get you that number in due time. This one hit over, and a bit of a tricky play there from Dale, and he's going to send it way off over at second base. So Beck will be safe at first and forget about the out at second as well.
Yeah, unfamiliarity with Dale playing third base and Babiak at second. You know, their timing wouldn't be the same as Vanesti and Roth's, of course.
With that in mind, do you take the play at first, being more comfortable with that if you're Dale?
No, that's still the play. It was hard hit. And if he makes a good accurate throw, you probably have a chance of getting 2. If not, you got the lead runner. That's still the right play. You just need the execution.
First pitch here from Dexter is a strike. That umpire is standing right in the way of your view to home plate. So here's a throw from Dexter. Looked like Menard was trying to have that one catch a piece of himself.
Well, that he turned into the catcher, which is the way to avoid getting the ball into your chest or your face, but it's also a good way of taking a pitch that might hit you.
This one is hit hard over into right field, should score a run, and it'll be a throw down to second for Volcano. It is now a 12-1 lead for the Berries here on the road. Speaking of going on the road, the Mavs will have one more against the Berries tomorrow, and then it is their longest road trip of the season as they go to Sylvan Lake for 2 after the off day on Monday. They see Fort Mac for 2 more on Thursday and Friday, and then a weekend series up against Energy City, and this time Energy City will technically have their home field for the first time. No, it is not Meshack Metro. It is instead Henry Lang Field, as this one is lined over to right field, and it's a base hit. So I'm not sure what the capacity is up there at Henry Lang. Have you been there before, Wayne?
Where is it? I'm sorry?
Henry Lang Field, I believe it's called.
And where is that?
I believe it's up in Spruce Grove. That's where the Cactus Rats are housing their games, at least just against the Mavericks.
Let me look that up.
I could be wrong on the name. I know there's Tom Lang Park already. I might be getting the two confused.
Henry Lang Field.
I believe so. After that, the Mavs will be at home for a while, so it's this almost bipolar rhythm. On the lots at home here, on the road, and then they're back for 2 against Weyburn. And then they'll see Moose Jaw, Swift Current, and Saskatoon all the week after. But I think that will be a fun time for the players being out in Sylvan Lake, a beautiful community for Canada Day. I'm sure the fireworks there will be great. One and one count, 1 out, 2 on. Here's the throw from Dexter. It's going to be hit up the middle, maybe now a chance for 2. Into the hand of Babiak, high 1, and it'll just be 1. And that's just not playing a bunch in that spot for Babiak. And Wayne alluded to that earlier with Dale's throw and not being connected maybe with between Dale and Babiak. And that time it was Babiak not being in a place where he's made that throw a lot. So runners are on the corners with 2 out. 1 run in this inning for the Berries after 3 scoreless prior. This one is going to be over into center field. Freeman's got good wheels, but the ball will out-carry him and go to the back wall. Throw into second. Morrison was over near the mound, so no throwback to first from Babiuk. Of course, Dexter was going into cover, and so Morrison had to follow suit behind. So Balin Sorensen next to go. Runners are back on the corners, and the Berries now lead 13-1. Now, despite this being a large lead for the Berries, it is not their highest scoring game of the season. For this pitch from Dexter, we'll fill you in on what that game looked like. Pitch is going to hit for a strike. And I guess while we look at that, we'll also look at some scores around the league and get you updated on all the WCBL action. Feed your need. But back to what I was saying in terms of largest wins of the year, is Sorensen will foul that off. Saskatoon beat Moose Jaw 22-4 on June 6th. And they also had a 17-2 win against Brooks on June 13th. They've had a couple wins by putting up double digits. And back-to-back games against Weyburn where they put up 12 and 13. The Mavericks have had games like that as well. So they're both in the same company. As it's count now 1 and 2 for Dexter rather. Dexter trying to make sure that the bleeding can stop here. Nobody warming up for the Mavs, so he might get the 9th as well. And no swing. And it is a called strike 3. So 2 left on for the Berries, but they put 2 up on the board and extend their lead to 12 runs. And we're back here in the bottom of the ninth, or the bottom of the 8th inning rather, as the Mavs go to work. A new pitcher on the mound for the Berries. I believe it is Carson Obrick from Wayne State College. And we got the name of the park now, Wayne. You figured it out?
Yes, Henry Singer B, or Henry Singer Ballpark Complex in Spruce Grove. They've got 4 ballparks there. Only one has a grass infield, and I'm assuming that's the one.
Uzawa flying out to right there. So it was not Henry Lang. I was combining the two.
Well, at least I wasn't looking up Henry Lang Field. All one name. I was looking for it, and I was like, no, I can't find that.
It's got to be a president or a mayor some time ago named that. A King up to bat. His first at bat of the night. It's obviously his first time seeing Obrick. King with a snap of the bat. This one will climb a long ways back, and it is off the wall. King into second. He's got a double. The Mavs have not had that extra bit of jump tonight to get it all the way, and the Berries have had that. That's not the difference in this game, but it is the difference in a couple of runs on the board.
Yeah, well hit ball. It's good to see Nate come in, Blake Dale come in and get some hits.
So 1 out, and up is Blake Dale. There is a pitcher warming up for the Mavericks out there. We saw Denny Retzlaff before. I think he was just getting in a cycle. It wasn't much so that he was going to come into the game. And it looks like Adam Volcano's throwing out there. Now, you might be wondering, Adam Volcano, I think I've heard that name tonight. Yes, he's played in right field. He's batted tonight, but he has pitched so far this season as well. I believe on the road in a could be wrong. I think it was maybe Weyburn no, it was Regina he came into the game against. That's who it was. One of the blowout games there. Dale's going to hit this one far. It's going to cross up the left fielder a little bit to start, but the play is made by Janner at the end. So King will stay put over at second. Good piece of hitting from Dale. Just didn't have enough legs to it. And up is Johnny Volcano. You would think we were still in the top of the first inning with how Johnny Volcano's name is being yelled out. Here's Obrick. Volcano snaps that one wide. Waiting on deck behind him is Jaden Babiak. Babiak will get a bat in the 9th for sure. And it's out of your viewpoint, but there's a beautiful sunset to the far left. The contrast between the dark clouds and the brightness of that sun going down, it's picturesque. Oh, 0-2 to Volcano. Obrick. Couple of shuffles. Here's the throw. And he gets Volcano looking. So Carson Obrick comes into the game, and he does what he needed to do. Gives up the one hit, but he leaves that one stranded. And the Berries just waiting on this game to tick down. They've got it in control and are looking to add their 20th win of the season.
So they got a
Top of the ninth inning, Adam Volcano on the mound. We do actually have pitching stats on Volcano in his first appearance. I'm not sure Adam would like us to read them, but I do believe it is in our contract, or at least a made-up contract, that we need to share what needs to be shared. A 9 ERA on the year, 1 appearance, gave up 3 hits, 2 earned runs, and had 2 strikeouts, 2 walks in 2 innings.
And Turner Sadunich is at the plate for the Berries.
Zadunich batted near the end of the order last time the Berries were here. And as we mentioned in that game as well, had a brother who played for Okotoks, and he was an all-star last season, but did so, I believe, as a pitcher. Zadunich will send that one far and left. Waiting behind Zadunich. I don't believe there's been any more changes. Still Mason Rell.
Yeah, Corey Waters is on deck. Vinesti's going to make a play out there. First out.
Rather, that was Blake Dale making that play over.
Oh, Blake
We've
Dale.
seen Vinesti
Yes.
so many times that we're so used to seeing that. But Dale, a quick defender, and he's got to be happy with that after what happened before on the transition play to Babia. Makes up for it.
Yeah, I was talking with Blake Dale last Friday about what his favorite position is, and he likes the middle infield. He feels he's most comfortable at short, but he doesn't mind second.
Bouncer
That's a
towards
tough
Dale,
play.
and that one through his glove.
That's a tough play. That ball was lots of top spin on that.
Ball will be back to Adam Volcano, and we've talked about Blake Dale's golf extensively, so I won't go too in depth on that again. But what I will mention is he is my golf partner on Monday, and I'm fortunate to have him on my team.
So who's all going out golfing with you?
So it'll be Ryan. My team is this: Blake Dale, myself, Ryan Reed, and Luke Barrientos. Saw Barrientos last night, of course, closing out that game. And then the other team is our Director of Operations, Austin L., our Director of Promotions, Nick Weprook, Xander Roberts, and I believe the last member of that team. Did I get 4? I feel like I'm missing one here.
Yeah, no, that was 4.
That was 4. There we go. Oh, and AJ Dahl is on that team.
Oh,
so that was only 3.
Morrison's still holding the runner at first. I'm not sure that Saskatoon will be running up 13-1 in the 9th. Left-handed hitter up. I think I'd play behind him and just cover that hole.
Back to the mound is Volcano. Now one outward.
Yeah, he's
3-1.
throwing a lot of curveballs and just not finishing out front.
Could be a double play ball. Babiuk, side shuffling play. Volcano to first, and he is safe. It's going to be a hard double play. That's some good running down the line there from Janner.
Yeah, that ball was hit hard, and it just took a little too long to make the transition over to first. But you're right, he got down the line in a hurry.
And you're talking about Volcano throwing lots of curveballs. I'm not sure if this is the case for everywhere, but I wanted to run this by you, Wayne. I found out yesterday that in lower levels, oh, Babiuk, what a play over to second. He's going to get the out. Where's Babiuk's cape at? That play was Superman-like as he flips it up to Volcano on the conversion. We'll get back to the curveball conversation at another time as Babiuk throws one our way in the broadcast booth with a fantastic play in the late stages of this one. Jaden Babia comes to the plate after a brilliant defensive play. And that will be a long wash for his jersey tonight as it collected dirt on his way to transferring that one to Volcano. New pitcher on the mound for the Berries, and then we'll get back to what we were talking about with curveballs last inning. Wayne, I'm not sure we're aware of who we have out there yet. Haven't seen the number.
Big, tall right-hander, number 40 something or other.
Swing and a miss there from Babiuk, and it is number 40. And it is Matthias Tronson, rather. And he started last time he was
Yes,
here.
he did, yeah. From Toronto, Ontario. Big, tall right-hander. Got a very good fastball.
So throw from Matthias, and Babiuk will run down to first. Throw should beat him, and it does. Babiuk almost stumbled right there before the bag. So back to what I was going to ask about curveballs. I heard yesterday that at lower ages, whether middle school or elementary school, it is prohibited that pitchers throw curveballs at that age and in some of those leagues. Is that true? Is that a thing that happens?
Yeah, that's probably not a school thing as much as it is like Little League Baseball. Under a certain age, I believe 10 and under or 12 and under. Some leagues don't allow it just because they want to take care of the pitcher's arm. The fastball and the changeups are thrown exactly the same if you throw them right. And there's no extra strain on the elbow or shoulder. So they want to avoid kids getting early arm injuries is the intent. And I believe that if you throw the curveball the right way, you can teach it at any age. However, you don't have coaches who know how to teach it the right way.
It's going to be low to Morrison.
Everybody now is looking at velocity when people are talking about, is this person projectable to play at the next level? It's all, well, how hard can he throw? But to me, that's for a pitcher, you need control.
You look at someone like R.A. Dickey winning a Cy Young with a knuckleball, or a pitcher like Masahiro Tanaka, who was great with his changeup back in the day. Pitchers like that have been able to make a living playing Major League Baseball. That's not saying that every person who only throws off-speed pitches and doesn't worry about velocity will get there, but it is a thing that's happened.
Yeah, I mean, Greg Maddox, Tom Glavine, Cy Young winners, Hall of Famers, they never threw much over 90, maybe 90, 91, but they knew how to pitch, and they could hit the corners, and they had great off-speed pitches.
And up at the plate is the Mavericks Shohei Ohtani for tonight. Adam Volcano. A minute ago he's pitching, now he's trying to hit pitches from the other side.
Well, the Mavs have to get something going if they want to get back in this game. Is it a little late for that?
It is a little late. There are still fans that have stayed around, though, this late to support the Mavs, which is great to see.
The good thing is we're back out here tomorrow afternoon, 2:05. We're on the air 10 minutes beforehand, and we'll have a little summary tomorrow from this game and a little introduction to tomorrow's game. What a play.
That is
what
a
play.
great play by Menard to end it. The Berries victorious in what felt like the first inning. A 5-home run day as they made Athletic Park their own. Not something that a lot of teams have been able to do, but the Berries, well, they're very happy with how they played today. I know it's overused. I know it's cliche. But the Berries, they keep doing what they do. And their play is becoming a little overused. And them winning becoming a bit cliche as well. So the Mavericks in strange waters here with a loss. And we saw that against Regina a few days ago. Their magic at home is starting to slip. We almost saw it yesterday. It's been a weird stretch for this Maverick group.
Well, you're getting into that time of the season where we're getting halfway through the season. Players are getting a little bit of tired. They play 6 out of 7 days. It's very much like a pro schedule. And, teams, you have a little bit of strains and nicks and injuries here and there, and it's really difficult to keep that play at a high momentum like Saskatoon are doing. They're a loaded team, and they showed it tonight why they're in first place.
There's still lots of ball to be played, but as JT put it when I talked to him a couple of days ago, he said at the start of the season, everybody's so excited to be here. There's this jump, there's this energy, and the longer that carries, the better. But there is a honeymoon phase within the season, and the Mavericks are in the middle of that and experiencing that right now, and that's a tricky thing to navigate. And so it's going to be interesting to see how they get out of this, and especially how they respond to a team like the Berries, who really just smacked them at home tonight.
Well, they get a chance to redeem themselves tomorrow at 2 in the afternoon. So let's see whether or not they can do that. I think the Berries are beatable. Tonight they certainly weren't. They had 2 guys that absolutely destroyed us, Menard and their number 9 hitter, Janner. They both had 2 home runs. They both had 4 RBIs, and they were the big difference makers. And I thought Yeager pitched very well on the mound as well for Saskatoon. We had a chance in the first inning to come back even though we were down 9-0. Our leadoff hitter gets on with a double, and we scored him, but we had runners on the corners and weren't able to push anybody across. And that was the only run we scored in the game. And if I look at our 5 through 8 hitters, we were 0 for. Not one of them got a hit tonight, and that isn't gonna happen tomorrow. So we just have to remember that tomorrow's another day. The earth rotates every 24 hours, and if you're on the bottom today, hopefully you're on top tomorrow.
That's exactly how it goes. There's always a chance to redeem within the game of baseball when there are plenty of games to be played. This game, however, did not go in the Mavericks' way, and the Berries, they're going to sleep well tonight on a 13-1 victory to open this weekend series. These two are going to see each other a lot in the season, and they both hope that they will be seeing each other in the postseason. Well, we'll see you tomorrow here from Athletic Park, and as always, for Wayne Slosher and myself, Truman Bartman, this one has come to a close, and we cannot wait to see what the next one brings. Take care, folks.